Hey there, everybody. This is Kenny along with Kenny Squared. This is Sports on the Positive Tip, where we have conversations at the intersection of sports and faith. Kenny, a couple of things because we've got so much to get to today with the baseball pennant races and what a week three in the NFL. But Mike Gundy, after 21 years, the coach of Oklahoma State, was fired after, 4 games. I believe they played 4 games here. I just, it's crazy that you would fire a guy who really put this team on the map and has been there for 21 years this early in the season. What were your thoughts?
It seems kind of quick, um, and also a little disrespectful for someone that's put in that much time.
Yeah.
That would have been like when the Yankees were in their really bad slump if they just fired Brian Cashman midseason. Like,
Yeah. I
even if you
mean,
want to do that, you do it at the end of the year.
yeah. Yeah. And then give him another job or something like that. 21 years. I mean, I'm sure he'll probably get another coaching job because he's still relatively young, but boy, oh boy, that was just really, really odd. We thought we've said on this podcast several times that the NBA, but really the NHL, fire coaches too quickly, right? The NHL especially. But how about the New York Liberty of the WNBA firing their coach Sandy Brondello 1 year after she won the title and still got them to the playoffs this year, even though their top players, several of their top players, not Brianna Stewart, but several of their other top players were injured all year. I, I mean, what did you think? 1 year after you win a title, you get fired?
I'll give another analogy. That'd be like Dave Roberts getting fired, like if the Dodgers get eliminated in the wild card round.
I,
That's insane.
it really is, and that's a good analogy. Listen, this late in the year, why are guys still getting DFA'd? The Mets DFA'd Jose Siri, the Orioles DFA'd Charlie Morton. I mean, what's the point? I get it a little bit with the Mets because they probably don't have the roster spot as they brought back Tyrone Taylor, and Tyrone Taylor's been a better, much better player than Siri. Siri only batted 0.62 or something like that, but he only got 32 at bats. He had 2 hits all year. He was hurt most of the year. He broke his leg in April, a foul ball off his shin. Broke his leg earlier in the year. But what would be the point in DFAing guys with only a few games left?
Quick on Siri, he's the one that had 22, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So they were trying to get rid of any other lingering effects of Juan Soto there. But um
actually, I think
I,
that
I
was
think
Brett Beatty. I think that was Brett
that
Beatty.
was bait.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But Siri used to be
Um
22, but then the Mets traded for him with from Tampa.
yeah, I the only thing that I can think of would be like an injury or if like because 28-man roster as opposed to the 40, so like
Yeah,
there's a little less flexibility. So like if you have a guy coming back or if you like especially in this time you're talking like the Mets, they might have to line up pitching a little bit, so they might have to push a guy back. So you may want to pull up a starter there. So
yeah.
that's the only thing I can.
Yeah, yeah. I think Charlie Morton's gonna get signed by the Braves and retire as a Brave or something like that. Was what I read. We'll get started after I say this. The MLB Network. It's at this time of year, it's just as good, if not better, than watching Red Zone. I mean, they just do a phenomenal job. I mean, that was the go-to place these last couple of nights. Would you agree?
Oh yeah. I've been just more tuned in on the Yankees than looking
Yeah,
at the scores.
yeah, yeah.
But man, I feel
Yeah.
like they are bouncing really nice.
They really are. Yeah. All right. So much to get into with baseball. 4 games left. You ready to get this started?
Let's go.
This episode of Sports on the Positive Tip is brought to you by the Tavern Coffee House. Attention, coffee lovers. Are you craving the perfect cup of coffee to start your day? Well, look no further than the Tavern Coffee House. It's located at 12302 Buckeye Road in Cleveland, Ohio. You can also check them out and order your coffee at thetaverncoffee.com. Hey there, everybody. This is Kenny and
And he squared.
with the Sports on the Positive Tip podcast. 4 games left in the baseball season. That's where we're going to start, Kenny. Boy, oh boy. If my stomach hasn't been in knots, I would enjoy this a lot more, but my stomach's been in knots with the Mets. Could baseball asked for something better these last four games now of the season?
No, like there's so many storylines here between, obviously, I think probably the biggest one would be what in the world is going to happen with the Detroit Tigers here,
Oh,
who
yeah. Let's
now
start
they're a
there.
game back.
Yeah.
They're a game
Let's
back.
start. Let's start there because we definitely want to give some props to the Yankees, a lot of props, and to Aaron Judge, and also to the Mariners and Cal Raleigh. We'll get to there, but let's start with that. First of all, I gotta say this, the because I've watched a bunch of that on the MLB Network these last couple of nights. First of all, what I was really pumped up about is that the fans showed up, man. And it looks like those were sellouts there in Cleveland. So go ahead and break it down for us. The Guardians are now one game up. This is impossible. One game up on the Tigers after the Tigers had a 15 and a half game. They had a 9 game lead in August, 15 and a half in July. And I mean, to call it a collapse is kind of an understatement. But I want to give the Guardians all the credit in the world because without the best closer in baseball and this cloud kind of hanging over them, and they got rid of Shane Bieber at the deadline, I think Bieber would have helped them. I can't. This is so hard to believe that the Tigers might be on the outside looking in. So go ahead and break that down.
Yeah, it's so weird too because yeah, they traded away Shane Bieber. Class A has been like gone, and obviously they haven't talked anything about him.
Yeah.
Um, but I think just what's so crazy, I saw a post about it how the Guardians are doing this with Jose Ramirez and Raccoon's wearing a trench coat as the other players. And like it really feels like that. Like Jose Ramirez is a superstar, second straight year, 30-30 season. He's been fantastic. And like Stephen Kwan, also an all-star gold glove outfielder.
Yep.
But like I know a lot of the players because I live here and like follow the team a little bit. But most people don't know half of these guys. Starters, I don't even know half their starters. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I I think I saw them pitch at one point. Like it's just insane. What to me is the pinnacle of Guardians baseball, especially over these last few weeks. They've given up less than 2 runs per game over like the
Pitching.
last three
Yeah.
weeks.
It's been
Their
pitching.
pitching has been incredible,
Yeah.
but also like they're just doing the small things okay, and like not just okay, like amazing. Um, so off of Tarek Skubal, who is one of the front runners for Cy Young. If it's not him, it's probably gonna be Garrett Crochet.
Right.
With honorable mentions to Max Fried. Um, he obviously like best pitcher in baseball. They score 3 runs off of him without getting a ball out of the infield.
I couldn't believe that. I was, is this really a rally? I mean, I watched that whole inning and I was like, oh my goodness. And you and I were going back and forth. They just took the lead, which was crazy.
So it's just incredible. Because they just do the small things right. You put the ball in play and fun things happen. Obviously, I think part of what happened was the scary incident with David Fry
Yeah. Yeah.
getting hit in the face. And Scooble, you could tell, was really shook by it. Um, more on that later. But um, it just it seems like they just really do the small things right. And I'm terrified to face them in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, I have the postseason bracket for this morning that I'll go over in a second. I think you broke that down beautifully. So the question I'll ask you there, being in Cleveland, it looks like the fans are excited. Is everyone really excited about this team?
Oh yeah, there's a buzz now that like, especially coming off of like the first win of the season for the Browns on Sunday,
Yeah,
and then this momentum now with the Guardians. Like, there's been a lot of excitement by it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and now like the Guardians can kind of stomp their throats on the Tigers.
Oh
They
my
win today,
goodness.
they're up 2, and they have the tiebreaker. They already have the tiebreaker regardless.
I,
So
yeah.
like that's insane.
But you know, this postseason picture, if it ended right now, they play each other in the wild card round. but it would be
Bring
there
it
in
on.
England. Yeah, I mean, it's really incredible. Baseball couldn't ask for better. That is such an intriguing series, and it's been. But let's now go to your Yankees. Kenny, this is why. What is it? 6, 7 years. I keep saying that Aaron Boone is such a good manager. Through all of the ups and downs, the injuries that the Yankees had, and I mean, they've gone on cold streaks, they've gone on hot streaks. I mean, now you look up and they could be the number one seed in the American League with 90 wins right now. They find themselves tied with the Blue Jays, although technically, right, the Blue Jays have the tiebreaker from that big 4 game sweep, I think was the one where they really got it from. You got to feel good about these Yankees. Aaron Judge is again at 50 home runs, fourth time he's hit 50 or more home runs. That's just incredible. So give us your thoughts on this Yankee team as Fried is going for his 19th today. Yes.
Yesterday he got it.
Oh, he got his 19th yesterday. That's right. He did pitch. I forgot. He did pitch yesterday. He's that's you got to consider 19 wins. You got to consider him for Cy Young as well. I would guess. But give us a few moments on the Yankees and this achievement.
Yeah, so Judge hitting 50 home runs for the fourth time makes him only the second Yankee to do so. The other is this guy named Babe Ruth. Um, and I think there's only like 4 or 5 other players that have done that. Like guys such as I think Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa. Like Judge is once again having an incredible year. Cal Raleigh hit his 60th home run, so because of that, people will probably vote for him for MVP, which means he will have the lowest batting average of any MVP ever. Whatever, fine. It takes a historic year to take away an MVP from Aaron Judge, who you could argue could have 4. Because also someone else took one away. Might have swiped it from his knees where he matches Judge. Um,
Wow.
but when you really look at this Yankee team overall this year, going into the season, you lose your second best player in Juan Soto to free agency. Um, I know he didn't finish as the closer, but he was an all-star in 2024, losing Clay Holmes to free agency, ironically, both to the Mets. Um, Garrett Cole doesn't throw a single pitch all year as your ace. Your number 3 pitcher goes about half the year before he needs Tommy John. And rookie of the year pitcher Luis Heel doesn't pitch until halfway through the season. Um, like going into the year, you're like, well, they can make the playoffs. Maybe that would be a good thing. Um, but they have like exceeded preseason expectations. Um, the starting pitching has been fantastic. Trivia question for you. Let's see if you can get this one. 2010, last time the Yankees had 2 guys that won 17 games or more. Do you know who they are?
Well, one had to be CC.
Correct.
Huh. I'm blanking on the other one.
The other one is Phil Hughes.
Phil Hughes. Wow. Phil Hughes, that's a blast from the past. I feel like he should still be pitching somewhere, but I know he's not. Wow. Now he was also a bullpen guy at first, right? Phil Hughes, didn't they use him in the bullpen first? Yeah.
Yeah, he started as a starter and then like got hurt and was part of the bullpen in the '09 season
Right.
and then
Okay.
became a starter again and
Wow.
then stunk. So,
Wow. 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 Wow.
um, but yeah, like just you look at a lot of the different guys that have contributed. Like Rodon has been excellent. He goes
Yeah.
for win number 18 tonight. Um, obviously Fried. Like I'm looking at the rotation next year. You'll have Cole back. You have Fried. You got Rodon. You have Heel, and then Schlittler.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's an excellent
Uh,
top of your rotation.
yeah. I mean,
But even guys like Aaron Judge has obviously done a lot. Trent Grisham has had an excellent year.
amazing.
Um, Cody Bellinger has done exactly what you would hope that he would do.
Yeah.
Ben Rice has kind of taken his game to a whole new level. Um, Paul Goldschmidt, you're like, well, it's a low risk, high reward. He has been great. He has
Yeah.
done exactly what you've asked him to do.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the biggest question going forward with this team is how do we get to the ninth inning?
Well, I was gonna say
Devin
bullpen. Yeah,
Williams,
yeah.
he's been good, but like every time he's been in the playoffs, like I was listening to a podcast they were talking about it. Obviously, the big home run to Pete Alonso, but he was also the guy that gave up that hit weird Yankee connections here. He gave up the hit to Juan Soto when he was still with the Nationals. That Trent Grisham misplayed that led the Nationals to win the wild card game that led them on their run to the World Series.
I
Um,
remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
so like I don't know. That's what worries me with Devin Williams, but he also has been good. I hate saying that because every time I feel like I say that, he then ends up giving up runs. But like if they can figure out how to bridge that gap, 7-8, then I think they'll be fine.
Oh yeah, a great achievement, and I think Boone has kept his team together and has kept their heads up. I don't, we kill him sometimes that he doesn't badmouth his players, but I think that works for him. And I just this has been a special team to watch. And Judge is going to win this batting title, yes?
Um, I would assume so. Let me pull up because like I think he's got like an 11-point lead on
Yeah,
Jacob Wilson.
yeah. There's no way he's gonna, in 4 games. But while you're looking at that, right now they would be matched with the Red Sox if it stayed the same. And they'd get the Blue Jays after that if they got past the Red Sox. And the Red Sox are playing really good baseball. They took off late August and have done just a phenomenal job. What do you got?
Judge is at 328. Jacob Wilson is at second at 315.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
probably going to win.
No, he's winning that, which will be a huge achievement. And the trivia question you asked me was in a full season, DJ LeMahieu won in 2020, but it was Bernie Williams, one of my all-time favorite players. That was the last Yankee to win a batting title in a full season. So Aaron Judge continues to put his name next to some of these legends and I consider Bernie Williams a Yankee legend for sure. Um, and so let's stay in the American League, and the Mariners last night clinch. And you change your tone a little bit, Ken, from last week where we were both thinking overall numbers. Aaron Judge is the MVP. It sounds like you changed your mind there and you're leaning now towards Cal Raleigh.
I don't want to because like Judge is leading the league in batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS. He has like a his OPS is 200 points better than Cal Raleigh. He's better in every aspect. But I'm hearing too much chatter about, oh well, Cal Raleigh is a catcher.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
Well,
I understand that there's
yeah.
value,
Yeah.
but also if you're looking at the numbers, like Judge easily beats him in everything
Yeah.
except for home runs.
Right.
And Judge also missed 2 weeks. He could be very close in home runs if he didn't miss 2 weeks of baseball.
Right. Right. I'm still torn. I think the on base percentage and the OPS for Judge gets me over the top. And we saw when he was out that the Yankees didn't do well. I'll hedge to say that they stunk those couple of weeks when he was out, and we saw almost as soon as he got back what happened. So now Raleigh, listen, I don't want to take anything away from him. This is a historic season, especially. Yeah, I'm going to throw in also Ken the catcher because these catchers with the way these pitchers pitch these days, they get beat up more than they ever did. So I'm sure he's got bumps and bruises all over his body. But I want to come back though for a second. So anyway, let me close that out. I don't this is going to be, I think, the closest MVP vote that we've seen in a long, long time. And I,
Yeah.
because I do think that the writers know, especially the writers that look across all those other statistics, they know Judge's value. But it's going to be hard to ignore Raleigh's season. And can he hit 3 or 4 more home runs? I mean, he might. I mean, the guy hit two last night. So, um, But let me come to the Mariners now for a second. And if it ended today, the Mariners and the Jays would have the byes in the American League. We'll get to the National League in a second. I mean, the Mariners woke up at the right time, and I thought they did everything right because we've known for a long time they needed offense, right? The last couple of years, they've had some of the best pitching, and the pitching hasn't been as good as it was the last few years. But now you add this offense. You added Suarez, who was okay, and he's heated up in the last week or so. And you added Naylor, who also was okay, and he's gotten hot. Um, the Mariners have done it right here, and I think they're going to be a dangerous team in the postseason. What do you think?
Yeah, I believe it's Fangraphs has them as the highest percentage of winning the World Series right now, which is weird, but also like it's not the Yankees, it's not the Mets. The World Series that would be really fun to watch would be Seattle and Milwaukee
Hmm.
because neither team has ever won
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And it's also very possible, although we don't usually see 2 1 seeds
yeah,
and all, but and there's a chance that they're not Milwaukee's not the 1 seed. There's also a chance Seattle's not the 1 seed, but
right.
I think it will be very interesting to kind of see how this team fares in the postseason.
Yeah,
Um, because they are very not battle tested. But sometimes that doesn't really matter. You see teams go on these crazy runs. What'll be very interesting is how they pitch Cal Raleigh in the postseason because
yeah.
he doesn't have a lot of intentional walks this year.
No,
But I'm sure that people will give him. That's
yeah.
the other thing too. Sorry, I'm still on the Judge thing. You remember in when he broke the record, it seemed like every other at bat they were just intentionally walking.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
let's
yeah.
see. I don't know if I can
Like
pull it
Barry
up
Bonds.
quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and Judge this year leads the league in intentional.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah,
Cal
yeah,
Raleigh does.
yeah.
Uh, what's it gonna
Well,
say here?
I
Yeah,
think
he
as
has
you're looking that
16.
up, how many does he have? Raleigh?
Raleigh has 16.
16.
Judge, I believe, like
Because
30 or something.
I'm sure Raleigh strikes out more than Judge, and that's
Oh yeah,
probably one of the reasons why he doesn't intentionally walk that much. You know, Judge is leading the league in hitting, so he does make contact, especially for a power hitter. Like I said, Judge, and he's become a better player actually than Frank Thomas, but his year this year reminds me of the Frank Thomas years. Um, I think Seattle is going to be dangerous, and you know, it's going to be their first division. Well, this is their first division win since 2001. And we remember what happened in 2001, though, right? That was when they broke the record, but yet they couldn't get past the Yankees. And so that it looks like the Yankees and then potentially could meet in the ALCS. So you know, we'll put that on the back burner. There's a lot of baseball to go, right? So let's start in the National League. Um, my stomach's in it. You know, I've been telling people I have no idea what to expect from the Mets. I just don't. I mean, their pitching, their starting pitching the last few nights has been horrible. They had their best win of the season on Tuesday night. They're down 6-1. They chip away. They come back. Nemo hits a big 3-run homer, and then Francisco Alvarez is a 2-run homer in the top of the ninth. Edwin Diaz looks amazing. Pitches the eighth and the ninth, and they pull out that big win, which gives them that game cushion, which they still have right now because the Reds can't beat the Pirates, and the Dodgers stepped up last night and beat the Diamondbacks in extra innings. That I saw the highlights on that. That was quite a game. So I think the Mets will hold on here. I just don't know. I mean, listen, Jonah Tong, I love him, man. He's a great kid. He's not ready for the major leagues. He just isn't. He needs a little more seasoning in the minors, but they don't really have an option right now on, you know, on who else to pitch. You know, Clay Holmes looked okay when he came in last night. I wouldn't blame him if he's been tired. Mania has never gotten it going, and their ace Kodai Senga is still pitching down in the minors. So it's been really hard to watch. And then the hitting kind of they all hit together or they all don't hit together. And they went in kind of the tank last night. So I have no idea with the Mets. And but what's been intriguing, this is really the only race that's intriguing. It looks like the Mets would match up with the Dodgers if it stayed the way it is. and as you said, you were texting me this yesterday, Tanner Scott, which I'm surprised. He's been brutal. 10 blown saves, and he blew the other one the other night. And that is really gonna hurt the that is really gonna hurt the Dodgers, I think, in the postseason, their bullpen. Now, Shohei Ohtani looks all world, 6 innings the other night, shutout ball. I mean, he's pitching great. You got to give him a start in the postseason, yes?
I would assume so.
Yeah,
Um, they have a few other options because the other thing too is like he would have to play in the outfield, which he hasn't really done
yeah,
at all in his major league career,
yeah.
in order to still be a bat in like in the game. Because the way the rule works is he has to be in order to become DH as a pitcher, you have to start the game, and then when you come out of the game, then you can become DH.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
so I would
That's going
assume
to
they
be
would want to
interesting.
start him because that eliminates a bench move that you would automatically have to make.
Yeah, yeah. That that's going to be very, very interesting. But we'll see when we get there. And so, how about Kenny? The story again being a couple of teams that sold at the deadline are in contention here with 4 games left. Last year was the Tigers, right? This year we've got the Guardians sold a little bit, but the Diamondbacks sold a lot. They got rid of an excellent pitcher as well as Suarez and Naylor, but yet here they find themselves only 1 game out. Now the Mets have the tiebreaker over them. So if the Mets and Diamondbacks tie, it would be the Mets. But the fact that they're still in the race, what does that say about selling at the deadline? And what does that say really about the Diamondbacks and who I think is an excellent, excellent manager? He never gets mentioned in Lovello.
Um, I think it is a good testament to like the manager. Manager of the year is going to be a very interesting conversation
Yeah,
this year.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
because like right now in the American League, do you give it to Stephen Vogt again? Because
yeah,
like they came all the way back. I don't know, but um, if you're looking at the Diamondback, I think it just in general, if you're looking at a team that's selling, I feel like sometimes they just play a little bit looser. They're like,
yeah.
oh well, the rest of the season doesn't matter. So if we win, we win. And like you saw that last year with the Tigers. The Diamondbacks, I think they finished off against the Padres.
I think so.
Um,
Yep, they stay in the West. I think it's
which
against the Padres. Padres still have a chance for the to pass the Cubs, but I don't think they're going to.
yeah, and the Padres also have a small chance at the division, but they don't hold the tiebreaker, and I think they're 2.5 back or something
Right,
like that.
right, right. Yeah,
Um, so like there's a chance that that's not a very important series for San Diego,
yeah,
which could make it very critical for the Diamondbacks.
yeah.
Um, this is a question. I don't know if you know this. What happens in a three-way tie? Do you know who has the advantage?
No, I don't.
Because I'm trying to look it up, and all they just do the head-to-head tiebreakers.
Yeah,
But I guess if we get to Sunday and there's a scenario where that can happen, I
yeah.
love chaos.
Uh,
Um,
yeah. Please, man. My stomach's been in knots as it is. So finish off the National League here, Ken. Right now would be Mets, Dodgers, Padres, Cubs. Who it's interesting that they're battling each other right now for the spot. So, and again, like you said, the Padres have that outside shot at still winning that division. The Brewers, the Reds get the Brewers this weekend. And so, will the Brewers have anything to play for? Well, I say I'm reaching a little bit, but I'm saying yes, because if they win today, they'll have 97 wins. If they win 3 more, they'll get to 100. And so, but it looks like none of these teams are easing up, right? They're all playing hard, and I think they will. The Phils, they also have something to play for. They think they might could catch the Brewers. I don't think they can. They have 93 wins, I believe, and the Brewers have 96 going into today. So, but Kyle Schwarber, did you see him last night hitting 2 more home runs?
yep, he's at 55.
I mean, some of these guys are just having amazing years. So we'll get back to the MVP conversation next week. But that to me is still interesting. Although now Otani, with the way he's pitching, starts to put a little distance, I think, with them. But this is amazing, man. This is exactly what baseball wanted. Now, a couple of side notes here. Well, just one side note. It looks like now, unless the Brewers do this, win their last four in a row, there won't be a 100-win team this year, right? And unless somebody steps up in this last weekend, there might not be a no-hitter this year either. What do you think of both those things?
What if we get one in the playoffs? That'd be fun.
Oh my
We haven't
gosh.
had that since Roy
Ray
Halladay.
Halladay,
Um,
yeah.
oh no, there was the Astros one, the weird combined no hitter.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Oh no,
yeah.
not the Astros, the Phillies.
Phillies won. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but either way, I think that's the most surprising, especially with so many close calls.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but man, it's been a weird year because like something else I'm thinking about is like in the American League right now there's 7 teams left. Basically, I think it's technically now 7 teams left for 6 spots. 3 of them have been secured, but like any of those other scenarios, nothing would surprise me. Like if the Tigers then can continue to fall out because they play somebody hard this weekend. Oh, they
Tigers.
play Boston. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Red
there's a
Sox are
chance
still
that they could
playing.
be,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they could
Wow.
be out of it.
Yeah.
Um, the Astros have lost 5 straight.
I didn't
They
mention
could
the
be on the
Astros. I
outside.
have it down here and I didn't mention them. I'm sure you're so upset that the Astros may not make it.
Oh yeah. Um, but then also like, would you be surprised if the Astros were in the World Series? Would you be surprised if the Tigers were in the World
No,
Series? Like, I think we're in a spot where any team that's left in the American League, there's not like one definite, oh yeah, this team will definitely be there. You could argue the Yankees because they were there last year, and they have, in my opinion, they have the best 1-2 punch in Fried and Rodon.
yeah,
But
yeah.
also like, I wouldn't be surprised if they fall flat and lose in the wild card game.
This is going to be a lot of fun. I mean, this is going to be
Yeah.
one heck of a postseason. Will I be watching it with a knot in my stomach with the Mets in there, or will I just be watching it as I don't really care and I'll just totally root for the Yankees, you know? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. All right. You ready to turn over to some NFL?
Yeah. Oh, wait. There's a
Yeah.
quick stat that I just saw.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, active division droughts. The Mariners snapped the fourth longest. Um, only 3 teams have longer division title droughts. The Pirates in 1992
Wow.
and the Marlins and Rockies who have never won the division.
Oh, wow. Yeah, yet the Marlins have two World Series championships, and at least the Rockies have been to a World Series. Hard to believe the Mariners have never been to the World Series, you know? And
Yeah.
yeah, and with all the great players that passed through there, the Griffeys, Randy Johnson, Edgar Martinez, Jay Buhner. I mean, it's really hard to believe. Ichiro. Um, wow. Okay. All right. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. All right, let's start over to the NFL. I'll start here. I'll pepper you with a couple of things that I thought highlighted, and then we'll pull up your sheet here. The Lions Ravens Monday night didn't disappoint. I think I watched all of that, if I remember right. I think I was falling asleep towards the end, but it was such an exciting game. Lions, you know, really they needed that game, but so did the Ravens. So that was such an interesting matchup. David Montgomery, I mean, he's such a good player. I don't know how the other teams let him go, man. He's such a good running back. But here's what I wanted to ask you though, because Michael Wilbon brought this up, and I don't know, I was kind of thinking it a little bit, and I thought maybe it was just the Lions defense was so good that night, but they did wind up giving up 30 points, you know. But Michael Wilbon says he senses that possibly that Lamar Jackson may have lost a step or two. Now, Lamar Jackson's 29 years old, so he's still pretty young, but he didn't look like the same player, nor did he look like the same player in the opening game in terms of the way he can run. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I feel like he needs to run more in order for that team to be fully effective.
Yeah.
Um, because like he's a good passer of the football. Um, I know that was especially early on, that was one of the bigger debates about him. Um, but like what makes the Ravens offense really click and be so unstoppable is like you have a guy that can throw the ball, you have a guy that can run the ball, and then you also have a running back that can rush like crazy as long as he can hold on to the ball. And I think that it's weird because the Ravens are in a really odd spot. I saw a thing earlier. They've scored 100 points this year in 3 games. Other teams that have done that are combined 68-7. I believe they're the only one with a losing record.
You would never think that the Ravens would have to worry about their defense, right? That's what that franchise has been built on. And so that's such an interesting stat that you just brought up. Um, all these block kicks were just crazy. I mean, the Eagles beating the Rams on the block kick. Um, the Jets almost, pulling it out against Tampa Bay. But again, we see Baker Mayfield pulling it out, getting his team down in field goal position right there at the end. Indiana Jones continues to do well. I don't know how you feel about that. The Bears spanking the Cowboys, I think, was big for the Bears, and I don't know what that looks like for the Cowboys. We'll get to your sheet in a second. But the 0-3 teams, right? I'm sure you're going to highlight those. Out of the ones that's 0-3, the surprising me are the Houston Texans. I'm sure you're following that. So it was quite the week in the NFL. So before we pull up the sheet, as I'll start to share a screen now, what's the mood like there in Cleveland? They were very close to being 0-3 also, but yet they last minute pull it out and beating the Packers, one of the best teams in the league, 13-10. What was the feeling there?
Watching that game for the first 3.5 quarters was miserable. Um, Isaac was watching with me, and like we're just like, man, why is this happening? Um, he's like close to tears, like the Browns never win.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, you're right. Um, but then like it just kind of shows too, their defense has been really good. Um, but it's hard when you don't have any offense. Um, it's like I like Joe Flacco. He's at 1 billion years old. He still throws a nice spiral. But man, it just seems like the offense is just so anemic. But like we're like, okay, like we had a pretty good drive. We got it into field goal range. Boom. That was good.
yeah,
And then the interception happens, and we're like, okay, like we're really moving and go score the touchdown. Um, and then the Packers set up for that field goal, and that block was like incredible.
amazing.
Um, and then everyone's holding their breath as the kicker who missed a couple kicks week 1 nails it,
Ah,
and everyone's been excited about it. It's been like a very like exciting mood, and like when you look at it, this team could be 2-1 in a division where the Cincinnati Bengals don't have their starting quarterback. You worry about Aaron Rodgers with the Steelers long term, and the Ravens are in a weird funk. Like
yeah,
you could have been right there,
yeah,
but
yeah,
we'll see.
yeah, yeah. It's exciting. All right, we got it up on the screen. Take it away.
All right. So here are our tiers for this week. The bottom one is moving to my phone. What I mean by this is like you'll follow it because you're a fan, but you're gonna follow it on your phone. Um, you'd rather watch something else, whether you're watching baseball, whether you're looking at some potential uh, basketball preview stuff, whatever. You got the Panthers. Um, yeah, there's not much to say about them. And honestly, you look at Charlotte and you're like, well, I don't know. Maybe they're looking at their phone because they're looking at some potential baseball expansion sites in Charlotte. I don't know. Houston, you're more excited about Kevin Durant playing for the Rockets than you are about the Texans right now. Um,
I'm
the
shocked.
Saints, you're
Yeah,
yeah. That one still is surprising.
yeah.
And also because of the way that the Colts are ahead of them, the Jags are ahead of them, it's going to be really hard, even if they can turn it around to come back and actually win that division.
Yeah.
Um, the Saints, it's the same thing. You're more excited about Zion Williamson losing 20
Oh,
pounds
he looked
or
great.
however
Yeah.
much he looked. He looked really good.
Yeah.
Um, but it's one of those we see it in every sport. It's like, oh, so and so who is bad is in the best shape of their life. We'll see what happens. But the Giants are down here. My prediction of them winning the division has fallen fully flat. Um, but there's a chance that that could change depending on how Jackson Dart looks. I did make this before we got the news that Russell Wilson was being benched, but still, like, I guess in the context of moving to my phone, they have a little bit of extra excitement now that you have the
Yeah.
rookie
Yeah.
quarterback that
Let's
you
see what he
drafted in the
has.
first round.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but also they're facing the Chargers, which like I had I had texted you after the game after they lost. Like I I'm a little hesitant to start him against one of the best teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
But also like if he goes and balls out, even if they lose, it's gonna give you a lot more hope than they've had
Yeah.
with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Russ looked good for one game,
Yeah.
and
He's
the
not
other
the
games
future.
he's looked awful. He's
Yeah.
not the future.
He's not the future, not of this team. No, he's a future Hall of Famer, I think, but not the future here.
Like if I'm looking at another 4-13 season, I'd rather do it with Jackson Dart. And
Yeah.
also like last thing I'll say on the Giants, Dayball and Shane are on the hot seat.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
especially when you're looking at your former starting quarterback who is playing like Josh Allen. That's not even an exaggeration. His numbers are very similar. Um, and you're looking at your former running back that you had drafted that won the Super Bowl last year and was a finalist for MVP.
Yeah.
And here you are with nothing,
Yeah.
nothing to show for it.
Oh
So
God. Yeah.
um, they needed to make this move in order to save their jobs.
Yeah.
Tennessee Titans, there's not much fun about them, and then the Dolphins, which to me are like I'm not surprised that they're bad. I'm surprised that they're this bad,
Yeah.
and they're almost unwatchable. Um, Tua is looking worse and worse as time goes on. Mike McCarthy, not Mike McCarthy, Mike McDaniel looks like it's kind of giving the feeling that he doesn't want to be there anymore.
Mm.
Tyreek Hill also, I wonder if he's going to be looking to try to get traded. I don't know. But
Yeah.
that's like a very big implosion waiting to happen there. Next tier is one shining moment, inspired by the NCAA. Well, I know it's a different song, but that's where I associate it. These teams have had one moment this year that they felt pretty good about
Yeah.
themselves. The Chiefs, I only have them here just because like they're so far their only solace is that they played well on Sunday night. Um, other than that, there's a lot of weird questions about this team. Um, especially, I know it's week 3, and I keep talking about division races, but like it could get late, very early in the NFL. So,
Yeah.
the Raiders, I don't know. The Raiders seem like a weird team, so that's why I kind of put them there. The Bears had a great performance by Caleb Williams. Hopefully, that's his coming out party. Um, not because of the thoughts about his sexuality, but just that he becomes a good quarterback. Um,
Bears and Raiders play each other this week, so that'll be interesting.
yeah. The Browns, obviously, big game last week. Hopefully, they can keep the momentum up. I forgot who they played, but I don't think it's an easy opponent. Um, the Cowboys, I mean, the Cowboys had their one shining moment in week 2. Um, the Broncos could start looking bad very quickly. And it's kind of like I don't understand why. Um, but I guess we'll kind of see. We'll give it some time. The Falcons also, like, if there weren't bigger stories in the NFL, like the Falcons with drafting Michael Penix, they have not looked good.
Yeah.
Um, I think
Yeah.
they said that they haven't. I thought I heard the stat that they haven't won a game where their opponent scored more than 10 points or something like that.
Crazy. That's
Um,
crazy. And you have the $100 million quarterback sitting on the sidelines. It's just it's really odd.
like you're gonna start to get to the point of do we go back to him? But I don't think they will.
No.
And then last the Jets. The Jets' one shining moment was Aaron Glenn dancing after the punt return for a touchdown. Um, it's been memeified. Like when I saw him that excited, I was like, man, I really hope they win this game. Um, Unfortunately, Baker Mayfield is actually really good,
Yeah.
which I wish the Browns noticed that years ago.
Yeah.
Um, Next year, we're good, but will it last? Um, these teams have gotten off to a decent start, or they've had some good flashes, but you kind of wonder if it's going to last. The Steelers, the biggest thing is Aaron Rodgers is going to stay upright. Um, because if he goes down, you don't really have a good backup plan. Um, and also long term, like what are you doing? Because he's obviously not going to be there for 5, 10 years.
Yeah.
Um, you got the Vikings with like what do you do with JJ McCarthy's health and everything like that. I don't know. The Cardinals have gotten off to a good start. The entire NFC West is above 500, which is incredible. But I don't know if it'll last.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Bengals without Joe Burrow, they currently lead the division, but I don't know if that's going to last.
Yeah.
The Seahawks are a weird team. Sam Darnold hasn't looked as good as he did last year. You wonder if it's the system more than it was a quarterback. Um, you got the Commanders, Jaden Daniels. He's got to stay healthy. That's the biggest thing. And then also the Patriots. The Patriots had a pretty good win last week, but also like, what's the deal with them? They still don't really like. It seemed like okay, we're bringing in Mike Vrabel. We're kind of going back to the roots of who we were, but it doesn't seem like they're any different.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Um, these are the great teams. Like if you're looking at teams that have actually done well so far this year, here they are. 49ers, despite losing Brock Purdy, are 3-0. Um, Mac Jones looking like he was in his rookie year,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
good for him. You got the Rams. The Rams had a loss, but they lost to the Eagles. You can't really fault them for that. Um, I believe the Eagles have beaten them like 4 or 5 straight times, something like that.
Yeah. And in the playoffs
Weird.
last year, yeah.
Yeah. We talk about the Ravens. The Ravens are 1-2. This is a very big week between. I know we haven't talked about matchups, but you got the Ravens and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
One of those teams is going to start out 1-3, and one of those teams might start really hitting the panic button.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Um, Especially if the Browns somehow end up winning. Um, that's who the Browns, I believe, are playing the Lions, which the Lions are next. The Lions have, after a very rough first week, have looked really good offensively, and like there was a lot of questions about, well, what are they going to look like without Aaron Glenn, without Ben Johnson? They've looked fine. I
Yeah.
don't think you've had many complaints with them. Um, yeah, the Jags. The Jags are 2-1. They're just kind of there. And then the Packers. The Packers, I think they just ran into a good defense last week versus having a bad game.
Yeah.
But I mean, probably both things can be true at the same time. Top five, changed only a little bit. I got the Eagles there because the Eagles, I don't know, they find ways to win.
Keep
The
winning.
Bills to me are one of, if not the best teams in football. Um, the Chargers, Justin Herbert might be the fun dark horse MVP candidate, but also the guy next to him there, Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers might be too.
Yeah.
Um, 3 straight game-winning drives late, like he's doing it in the clutch. And then the last one, the newest addition there is the Colts. Um, what Daniel Jones has done in 3 weeks is incredible. They're one of I think like 3 teams ever to only punt once in the first 3 weeks. Like imagine being the punter for the
Crazy.
Colts this
Yeah.
year, where you've
Yeah.
only been on the field for like 4 minutes, if that. Like he has the easiest job this year.
That's just crazy, man. Um, so a great job. Again, I think you've nailed it here. The thing that is surprising in the top five would have to be Tampa Bay and Indy. And I think, Daniel Jones, his best years was when he had Saquon with him. Now he's got Jonathan Taylor with him, one of the best running backs in the NFL. And I think that that's one of the reasons why you're seeing him thrive again. He's such a gifted athlete. He still is, and he's not that old. So I think he can sustain that. I don't know if Indy is going to be one of the best teams in the league all year, but I think that, Jones probably is going to, it's very early to say this, but possibly take them to the playoffs. But um, let's get to the matchups. Great job here. Let me stop sharing. And what are you going to be watching? There's some great matchups. I tried to limit them. I'll say this Monday night, there's another double header, but not late. They're going to overlap. And so you've got Jets Dolphins starting early. So I'll get to watch that. So one of those teams won't be winless. One of them will win unless there's a tie. And then at I think 8:15, you've got Cincy at Denver. So kind of a good overlap game, an important game for both teams there, I would think. But on Sunday, I know you're going to be glued to the set at 9:30. You're going to not be in the pulpit, and at 9:30 you're going to watch Minnesota against Pittsburgh, and I think they're in Berlin or somewhere like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Yeah, Dublin. Yeah.
In Dublin, okay, yeah, wow.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna watch every minute of that.
Yeah. It's a great matchup actually, and an important game. So the one you were talking about is an early game. Also, that's the Browns at Detroit. And what are we thinking there? If the Browns beat the Lions here, then you might got something going.
I agree. Especially like if they can really start to put some pressure on Jared Goff early.
Yeah,
Goff usually like if he's what makes him so good is that offensive line, and when he has time, he's able to kind of figure it out.
yeah,
But if he's a little rattled, if Miles Garrett can get a couple sacks, which I believe Browns lead in sacks,
yeah,
then it could be
yeah,
an interesting game.
yeah. I think that's an intriguing matchup. And because Jackson Dart is this is his first first game, the Chargers at Giants. And I know how good the Chargers have been, but I just something in me is saying that this is going to be a great game. What do you think?
I think it might be, yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah, yeah. How about this early matchup at 1 o'clock? Philly at Tampa Bay.
Oof. That means one team's going to start out 4-0. Um, I think this is a bigger game for Tampa Bay because it can show. I think like they've had good wins, but you beat a team like the Eagles home like that, you can really put people on notice.
Yeah,
And people will start talking about Baker Mayfield more than they are.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, oh man, that's quite an intriguing matchup. And then uh, there's these last three are really interesting. At 4:05 is Indy at LA to take on the Rams. So you talk about a big test for Daniel Jones here early. What are you thinking there?
I kind of want the Colts to win that just because I think it'd be
Wow.
fun for them to be 4-0.
Wow. Okay.
But also it'd be really hard to see Daniel Jones at 4-0, especially if the Giants end up at 0-4.
Yeah. 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 Well, at 4:30, 4:25 is the biggie. And they also fought to keep that game off of Sunday night or Monday night. Baltimore at Kansas City.
Yeah, that's your premier game right there. And really both of these teams are kind of fighting for their seasons a little bit. 1-3 is really, really hard to come back from in the NFL.
Yeah.
Um, and you look at it, and there's going to be a lot of like, depending on how this game goes. If let's say the Ravens are up a lot and they lose, it's going to be a big like, well, Lamar Jackson can't win the big game. Even if they lose in general, that's going to be the narrative.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, if the Chiefs lose, the narrative's going to be the dynasty's over.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Travis Kelce is more worried about Taylor Swift than he is about football.
Yeah.
Like you're going to hear a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, the Chiefs always seem to have the Ravens number, at least in the postseason. So I don't recall. I think they had a great midseason matchup a few years back that I think the Chiefs won, but um, that's going to be a phenomenal game. And there's some desperation here early with both those teams. But now the very interesting Sunday night game, Micah Parsons says he doesn't want a video tribute, he just wants a win, and that is Green Bay at Dallas. Your thoughts?
It'll be very interesting. Um, I think for it's more of a big statement game for the Cowboys, especially for that man Jerry Jones, who kind of made it sound like, well, we don't really need Micah Parsons because he's not really good at stopping the run. Um, and like they can really make like if the Cowboys can pull off a win, they can show, yeah, no, we didn't need you, Micah Parsons.
Yeah,
But also like Micah Parsons sacking Dak Prescott would be hilarious to watch.
yeah. I you and I, one of our favorite movies of all time is Remember the Titans, and we love that scene where the guy who's on the T-Mobile commercials. I always forget his first name, and he played on that show that you like, Scrubs, I think was the name of it. Um, you remember he's in the movie, and the coach tells him, "Listen, you want to be a star player, you better give me a star effort." That runs in my mind, at least once or twice during a football season. So I'm relating Mr. Dak Prescott to that because he's got the star salary. He's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, and I've always liked Prescott. I think he's a little bit even underrated. But this is one of those moments now where CeeDee Lamb is out, the Cowboys are down. This is where Prescott has got to, earn that contract that he got and really, really step up and give a star effort, and they need to beat the Cowboys. They need to beat the Packers on this Sunday night. I'm not sure that they will. The Packers, I think, are just a better team this year. But boy, all eyes are going to be on Parsons, and I think what kind of reception you think the Cowboy fans will give him?
I think they'll cheer for him because I think
Yeah,
a lot of them really miss him being there.
yeah. They play
Um,
Jerry Jones.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I think that's a fascinating matchup. I think those two late ones, Baltimore, KC, and then Green Bay, Dallas. Those are great matchups. So is Philly, Tampa Bay. So it should be quite the Sunday. All right. Well, as we wind down here, you ready to get to some inspiration?
Let's do it.
One of my favorite moments that I can remember with you as we not only bonded over sports, right, of watching games and everything like that, but we got to a point where there wasn't a sports movie that we would miss. And I got to a point where I started showing you some older ones. And I remember us watching The Natural together. And Robert Redford passed away last week. And The Natural was such a great movie. And because it wasn't just about baseball, but to see the story of this guy who gets shot, and so his career just goes off the rails, and he makes his comeback in his late 30s, and it couldn't have been a better the way they filmed that last scene when he. I hope I'm not giving anything away. If you haven't seen The Natural, it came out in 1984, so hopefully you've seen it. So I'm not giving anything away here. But when he hits that home run at the end, it's just an amazing home run off the light tower. It's just an amazing scene. Robert Redford made a lot of great movies over the years. All the President's Men, 3 Days of the Condor, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Those are movies that before your time. But as a kid watching those, some in the movies, and some just on TV, he was just this larger than life type actor, He could play almost any role. But boy, oh boy, the role he played of Roy Hobbs, right, was his name. To me, that is still his best role. It's my favorite movie that he played in. Just the whole story. If you haven't seen The Natural, if it's been a long time since you've seen it, go out and go on Amazon Prime, wherever. I'm sure you can find it. Put it on if you love baseball. It is more than a baseball movie, but boy, oh boy, the baseball scenes in that are phenomenal. So inspiration, a little bit different for me. Robert Redford passing away last week at the age of 89, I think he was. But his movie, The Natural, just those moments that you and I had together watching that was phenomenal. Because I remember I was watching you in the last scene because I had already seen it, and you're like, wow. So anyway, that's my inspiration this week. A little different.
That's a good one though. Because yeah, I did see that he passed away, and I was like, oh wow. Like I think of that scene where he hits like the explodes the light tower, like you said. Like
Explodes the light.
that's
That was amazing. They filmed it perfectly too. You know.
yeah. My inspirations kind of I alluded to it earlier. Tarek Skubal hits David Fry in the face. And if you've seen, I'm sure that you were watching it or you saw it, but
Yeah.
if you look at some of the replay, look at Scubal's reaction. He was horrified,
Yes, he was.
like just absolutely like shooken up. I think that's also part of the reason why the Guardians came back, but not the point of the story. Um, and sometimes I feel like, especially like you're talking, this is a tight pennant race. This is the ace of your staff and everything like that. This guy, after the game, goes to the hospital, make sure that he's okay. And I think it's a good example of not only like this is a guy that is like some people say he's the best pitcher in baseball. Some would probably also say Paul Skeens, but not the point. Um, some would say he's the best pitcher in baseball, and he took the time afterwards to say, "Hey, I really messed up, not like intentionally or anything. Like I just want to make sure that this guy's okay." And in the heat of a pennant race, where your team is collapsing, taking the time to go to your opponent to make sure they're okay, I think is just an incredible action of selflessness. And yeah, I mean, I hope he wins the Cy Young. I'd rather him than Garrett Crochet, but shout out to Tarek Skubal. He is a
Yeah.
great guy, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that he is as good as he is. And
Yeah.
please don't face the Yankees.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw all of that. And I also part of that story was didn't Stephen Vogt, the manager, give him a ride to the hospital?
Oh, I don't know that, but
Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah. I thought I
yeah,
read that this morning. You know, most pitchers, most of the time, especially these days, listen, growing up, you had Bob Gibson, I had Bob Gibson, Don Drysdale, who I remember both faintly in the early 70s. They will admit all the time that they intentionally threw at guys, right? I think these days most pitchers don't, unless there's something crazy going on with two teams or whatever. So it was totally unintentional with Schoolboy. I think it hit off his bat first, didn't it? Then his bat
yeah,
ricocheted, and so and that's big for the Guardians because he's a very clutch hitter, David Fry. That and he's not going to be around for the play. If they are, I'm sure they're going to be in the playoffs. He's not going to be around for it. And so for him to go to the hospital and visit him, like you said, selfless sportsmanship, whatever word you want to use, I think that was great. But we don't understand sometimes how that really impacts a pitcher, right? When they see, a fellow player go down like that. And it definitely impacted he's not a grizzled veteran because Schoolboy hasn't been around that long, but he's been through some big games already in his career. So and that definitely impacted him. So shout out to him. That's a great story. I'm glad you shared it. All right, man. By this time next week, playoffs would have started. So I guess we'll give some predictions next week. We'll know who's in, who's out. It will be really, really loud here either way in New York. Um, and it'll be loud for cheering for the Yankees, and hopefully it'll be loud for cheering for the Mets, but it might be loud if the Mets don't get in. And oh my gosh, will it be loud if the Mets do not get in? So the fun starts, the memories are waiting, and yeah, yeah, big week in the NFL. And Sunday, I know you loved Sunday when they all start at 3 o'clock, last game of the season. Now they've done that for a few years. So should be interesting. So lots to talk about next week. Kenny, take us home.
yeah. I think of game 162, 2011,
Uh,
and that chaos that happened because that was the finish of a couple collapses.
was that the Tampa Bay Yankees one? Yeah, that was
Yeah,
crazy.
they've marked where that home run went. It's like landing 162 or something like that.
And,
But
and wasn't that a Thursday night? Like, wasn't it like a night game?
yeah, I think yeah, it was like a Thursday night or something like
It
that.
was before. So this is relatively recent, right? Where they started all the games at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I think after that is when they kind of changed it because
Yeah,
like, but it was crazy because that all happened at the same time because it was like Tampa and Boston, and then also Philly and Atlanta
yeah,
at the same time. So like
yeah,
there was like the both like the concurrent collapses and teams coming back. So
yeah. I remember
um
one night. Yeah, that really was. That was great.
yeah,
All right, bud.
well
Yeah,
we'll we'll talk more about playoffs next week. So this is Kenny Squared N
Kenny.
with Sports on the Positive Tip. We'll see you next week. We might be talking wild card recaps for both our teams or neither. We'll see.